Okay, welcome back, everyone, to the Top Bunk Podcast, episode 12. 12? I think it's 12. I'm pretty sure it's 12. Anyway, today Bryn is not with us. Instead, it's just me and my lovely, marvellous girlfriend. Say hello, Meg.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, that is Meg, just so everyone is fully aware. Today, we are going to be talking about...
Healthcare.
Healthcare, yeah. Fun stuff. Hello, everyone on the live. Hello, Will. Hello, Owen. So today we're going to be talking about healthcare. Bryn is he's otherwise occupied this evening, so we could not have him on. But Meg, what countries are you going to be talking about their healthcare?
I've had a little look into the UK, France, and from personal experience, Dubai.
So obviously, UK, we got the NHS. Mm-hmm. What have they got in France?
France is like a good like mixture between. It's in my mind, we should try and model the NHS a little bit more around the French healthcare system.
Okay.
And then we've got the other extreme, which is Dubai, which you have to pay for everything, and you need excessive health insurance.
Is it kind of like the US?
Kind
Dubai.
of like the US, yeah.
Kind of like the US.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Sean. Will, I'm terribly sorry. I will get round to that. I have not been on. That's why. So I've looked at Switzerland mainly, so very heavily on Switzerland. And I've looked into a little bit of Canada. Not too much, just dabbled a little bit, just sprinkled a little bit of...
Added a little bit of spice into
Exactly, yeah. A little bit, because we like the Canadians. They're not like the Americans, but they're like Americans, but cooler.
Mm.
Right, card cannot be accessed. Well, YouTube, we've lost you already, so that's going to be great. Bear with me while I try and put you guys back onto normal. But anyway, Meg, tell me, NHS. Let's talk our lovely, amazing, incredible health service.
I'm going to start off and saying that I love the NHS.
Yeah, you want to work in it.
I think as a concept, it is fantastic that a country should be able to offer this to its people.
Yeah.
Right? Really, really want to. And I want to be a doctor, so we'll be working in the UK and in the NHS at some point.
Indeed.
But that doesn't mean that it's a good system currently. It has a lot of flaws and is in a lot of trouble. And
I think that its flaws are mainly financial.
What would you say, as not without being mean, no real medical background, kind of had a little look into what you've seen, but little dabble into it. Yeah. What would you say was the biggest issue in the NHS?
Probably funding. So my guess is, okay, so if I was to elaborate, so let's say they're understaffed to start with, number one, right? They're number one. However, I personally think that the main issue is the fact that people don't stay in the NHS because the wages are not what they should be for a nurse or a doctor or an HCA. Like a HCA on average earns around 18 grand.
And Boris, if you're listening...
Boz?
Why are we paying to park at hospitals?
Yeah, Bojo,
£3.50 an hour to park at a hospital where the average shift can be between 12 and 18 hours.
Yeah, by the way, we are talking about actual workers here. We're not talking about people who just visit the hospital to see their grand.
So as a doctor,
like
if you have to
people,
drive to the hospital, it's £3.30 an hour.
Yeah, I know, that is actual.
And what
that's
doctor
stupid.
Goes, well, I finish it now, so I'm off. Mid-surgery,
yeah.
I'm
you know what, I'm off.
Leaves.
Let's see you guys later.
The chance of you actually doing your set hours is nothing.
Minimal.
But let's say you do a 10-hour shift, £3.30.
£35.
That's £35 already on
just parking.
Not
let
even
alone
petrol to get there. Not even of all the things, and especially when you take into consideration that before tax they're earning around junior doctors like F1s and F2s. They're earning around £10 to £12. Some of them are earning £8.
Oh, I thought you meant 10 to 12 grand a year. I was going to say, wow, that's depressing.
An hour. That's a massive chunk already going.
Someone is saying Bryn is dead. No, he's not. He's just he's just not here right now.
Bryn has morphed into a female form.
Yeah, Bryn has morphed into a much better looking female form. By the way, guys, that is my girlfriend. That is Megan. Hi, where is my GF? There you go, Erin. You just had a little peek. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that. Like, parking is stupid.
But that's really interesting that you say that that's what you think is the biggest problem in the
Why? What is it?
NHS. Well, that's just it. This is such an open answer. It was one that I was asked at my med school interview. They asked me, what do you believe the issues are with the NHS?
And you answered?
My answer was, so is the change in times. So the NHS was set up in 1948.
Right.
So just
That's a long time ago.
It's not that long ago though in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, it's like what, just after the Second World War?
1948, yeah. It's not
Just
World,
literally after the Second World War.
The Second World War, which when you think in like grand scheme of history in the UK and everything, it's
it's not that.
Quite a young
yeah.
system. And the NHS was
It's a baby.
massive pivotal point for the UK government because it was the first time that you saw any government interaction into actually caring. So the NHS was the start of the welfare state. It was really big and it was really a pivotal point if you look through medicine throughout time. But one thing is that the UK population in 1948 was just under 50 million. Right, so it was 49.4 million.
Right, and I'm guessing now it's around the 60,000.
The population now is 66.65 million.
Wow. Okay.
Right, and that is starting to escalate dramatically. It's not going up slowly. It's actually starting to go exponential, which is not going to be a system that's going to be able to cope with the numbers.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of fun statistics here. So, how many people do you reckon the NHS deals with in a 36-hour period of time?
36 hours.
36 hours. How many people do you think use the NHS in one 36-hour period?
Are we talking including like people who just walk in, walk out, kind of like GPs, people to like cancer treatment?
To calling 111, all of that kind of stuff.
Maybe about 2 million.
It's 1 million every 36 hours.
Jesus Christ, that's insane. That's literally a 60th of the population.
Yeah.
Every single
36
every day and
hours.
a half.
And then when you remember that that's every new 36 hours, what about those people that are kept in for longer than 36 hours? What about those people that are kept in hospital overnight?
That's what I was saying. So my next question would be, would that include people who are having, like, let's say, for example, cancer treatment or anything like that, who are kept in over a long period of time or not?
These are slightly old statistics. This paper was published in 2018, so they're higher now
than they were
when this paper was published.
Because of population.
But so in 2015 to 2016, so looking at like academic September to September years, the total hospital admissions, so forget GP appointments, forget 111 service, just hospital admissions.
Walk in.
People who are admitted to hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So if you walk into A&E and you go, well, I've got a bump on the head, they'll patch you up and they'll send you home. If you walk in and you're like, well, I'm having a heart attack, you're admitted.
Yeah, got you. So actual serious
hospital admissions in 15 to 16 was 16.25 million.
A year.
In 2005, it was only 12.6 million.
So that's an increase of what, 4 point something? That's like an increase of 30%.
So it's increasing at such a rapid rate. The demand for it has gone sky high, and the system's still set up for if it was running in 1948. In 1948, we had a handful of injections.
I think the thing you also need to look at though is how many hospitals were there, how many people in, because I mean, like, I think the NHS is more, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the NHS is more of a concept, right? So it's not like, oh, this is what we did back then and we've kept it the same. I think it's more of the NHS is a concept of people pay their taxes and they pay their national insurance and that goes towards X and Y. And then
you have a system that it was built to treat people.
Yeah.
It was built to treat wounds, infection, disease. It wasn't built to prevent, it wasn't built to actually do all of the things that are now expected of it.
Yeah.
All the vaccination programs, we didn't have them in 1948 and they all come under the NHS. We end up having
which also means more
demand.
Yeah, of course.
And like what you were saying about money, so when it was set up, I've got it, the 5th of July.
Right.
When it was set up, so between the 5th of July 1948...
Meg's even got a pen.
I know.
Right,
to
fancy.
49, the equivalent money they spent in today's terms was 11.4 billion. Right? In 1948, they spent the equivalent of that. Guess how much they spent 2018 to 2019, so this last year.
How much was the previous statistic? 14?
So in 48, it was 11.4.
In 1948?
In 1948.
So the first year it ever opened?
First year it ever opened, that's how much they spent.
19?
No.
Keep going higher?
Yeah.
Christ. 27.
I'm going to put you out your misery. In 2018 to 2019...
53?
152.9 billion pounds. That was the government budget. So I've got a couple of funky little graphs.
Wow. Okay, hang on a sec. Let's quickly get TikTok to have a look at these. Right, look at
Funky
this.
little graphs. So we say the NHS needs more money, but look at how much money we're pumping into it.
That's how much we're putting into
How
it.
much we're putting into it. It's just a system that...
This expenditure.
Yeah, so that's expenditure.
Yep.
And then that is as a percentage of GDP.
Oh, right. Okay,
so
got you.
gross, something, whatever it is. So your taxpayers' money, how much of it is going to the NHS? And it's just under 10%, it's about 9%. And we're throwing, that's an inconceivable amount of million. 153 billion pounds. So much money is going into it, yet...
I think that's Jeff Bezos' net worth.
We don't have enough. How can we be putting that much money into a system that has not enough beds, not enough people,
Can I quickly point something out? The other day I said something to Ryan. Hello, Olivia. Hello, Azar. Hello, Tom. This is your GF. Show her again. Okay, here you go, Tom. Have a look.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I was speaking to Ryan the other day and I said, obviously, the NHS is an emergency services, and he told me it's actually not classed in emergency services because with emergency services they always have to have new cars. So if you look at a police car, they will never be 2 years. So for example, we're in 2020, that you'll never see a police car
before 2018. Any reason why?
It's because I don't know why, but it's just the way that for some reason that's what Ryan said, that that's just the way it is. And if you look at ambulances, I've seen the oldest ambulance I've seen is like 2012 or 2015. So we're looking at an 8-year long ambulance here.
Yeah. Ambulances are a huge market. They're $1 billion industry.
Because we were talking about this the other day, weren't we?
But what we're saying about actually how the funding goes in bits and pieces and how it's kind of moved into different sections is it gets divvied out to these, they're called CCGs.
Right, what does that mean?
So they're clinical commission groups.
Right.
So when you do the voting,
yep.
and the whole of England comes up with that on BBC with the weird honeycombs and they flash depending on where they partied.
Yep.
The government have basically done that, but on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
So they'll group 3 or 4 towns and places together, and then that'll be a clinical commission group. And
right.
They'll each area will get a budget given to them based on their population, so based on the ageing population and bits and pieces. So where I go down to uni in Exeter, I've done some work experience in one clinical commission group that includes Sidmouth.
Yep.
So it's 3. It's Otter, St Mary's, Sidmouth, and
the other one.
The third village, I can't remember. But Otters and St Mary's has a lot of primary schools and secondary schools.
Right.
So they've got a lot of young...
population.
Yeah, they've got a really young population compared to Sidmouth, where 60% are over 60 and 60%, and then 30% are over 80.
Jesus Christ.
It's a village. It's the newlyweds.
It's a village of old people.
It's the newlyweds and the nearly deads.
Yeah.
Right, and the other one is just kind of sits in the middle. It's kind of got a good mix of everything.
So what you're saying is Sidmouth's basically just a graveyard waiting to be. A ticking graveyard.
If you want to put it to work. But then that's just it. How can you budget
for that?
Where you have 2 villages side by side with each other pretty much.
That have got completely different types of populations. Completely
different healthcare needs. Which is another thing. Look at the ageing in the population. In 1948, people weren't living as long.
People were dying at 50.
Exactly. Now we're sitting, I think...
Average, I think, is over 80.
It's 85 and 83, depending on if you're male or female.
Yeah.
And with an age, you have all those comorbidities. Look at diabetes. Diabetes has gone...
Got diabetes, osteoporosis, arthritis.
Coronary heart disease. And we're still seeing a lot of backlash from the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah,
My granddad's got asbestos poisoning, COP from his lungs.
Yeah.
From where he was dealing with all the flooring. That was that's a
yeah,
then
yeah.
issue that is we're now still dealing with because people are living longer. They're not just.
Who is
dying.
that? That's Meg. That's my girlfriend.
Hi.
We're gonna be talking about that a lot of this podcast, aren't we? So yeah, no, that's. So to put into perspective, so that's obviously the NHS. See, in Switzerland's completely different. They don't have an NHS.
No.
Over there, everyone has to have health insurance. It is a mandatory thing to have health insurance. If you don't have it, technically that is illegal. Basic health insurance is 8% of the person's income. So my guess is until you actually start working, it would be free. That's my guess, because let's be fair, you can't turn around to a 5-year-old and be like, give me 8% of your...
Well, then it probably is parents. How insurance works in Dubai, which is a very similar system to Switzerland.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
Is that, so for Dubai, and I don't believe Switzerland is different, but visas, in order to work in Dubai, you have to have a visa, which is granted to you by a company. So my dad is the visa holder.
Yeah.
Which is his company have given him the ability to host a visa.
Right.
And then his visa, he sponsors my mum, myself, my brother, and my sister.
Yeah.
And because my dad has this visa, and we're all he sponsors all of us.
Which, by the way, guys, anyone who doesn't know what that means, it basically just means that her dad has an umbrella of which is covering the family, basically.
It means that we can all stay there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to his company, one thing they have to do in Dubai, it's government regulation, is that if you employ someone from overseas, when they come here, health insurance, the bare minimal health insurance, should be included in their package.
Right.
So some companies can put like a contribution towards your house, your
car,
school
your
fees,
XYZ.
XYZ, but it's mandatory that there's some contribution to health insurance.
Right.
So I was really lucky. My dad was very high up in the company, and he got like full on health
The
insurance.
full thing.
Not the full thing, which meant that it led to all four of us. And we had like a little card that had all the details on. One side had me, one side had my dad. And because he was my sponsor. And everything then was linked to my ID card. So whenever I went into the hospital, I had to show the card before they'd even see me.
Right, okay, got you.
They would not admit me without health insurance. And if you rocked up and you needed it, and you couldn't produce your health card, they had police with you until you could produce the card.
Yikes.
And they're like, not necessarily you would be in trouble, the company that employed you would be in trouble.
Would be in shit, yeah.
Because that was the regulation.
Okay. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it works for like under 16s there, but in Switzerland, so basically the insurance companies, they are the number one thing is they're not allowed to make a profit off the basic health insurance.
That's good idea.
They are not allowed to. So technically, it kind of works as the NHS, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So you pay them for what you need. So if the basic health insurance is over 8% of the person's personal income, this is yearly, by the way, the government will subsidise the additional premium. I know it's premium, but I just add a little bit of exoticness in there. Premium. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about the other day. This is where this comes into play, that if your health insurance does not cover certain not if it doesn't cover, but let's say if you have a what's it called, where like they have to open you up and stuff like that, surgery, operation, that's the word I'm looking for, an operation.
It's kind of look like you're trying to eat dinner then. I was
just like, I've got the fork here.
Yeah, but it was the fact that you did this as well. I was like,
yeah.
You're going to eat the body?
I hope not. I really hope not. Wait, are you filming on a podcast then? Yes, we are. Yes, we are on health services. And yeah, anyway, so if the operation costs a little bit more money, then the basically they either cover you or you have to pay the excess depending on how expensive it is. Now, the excess can range anywhere from $184 to $1,534.
Wow.
Now, that is a little bit of a jump. But yeah, so, and a 10% charge for anything over the excess. So basically, they charge you 10% of anything over that excess.
What, yeah.
It's very confusing, I'm not going to lie to you.
Health insurance and all of that is really confusing, which goes back to the UK. The fact
No
that
me
you can
gusta.
rock up at a hospital, walk in, walk out, and not have to worry about.
Be like, take my X-ray and they
Yeah.
won't smack you in the face with like
But,
$4,000
I
bills.
think that's one of the things that the UK population don't appreciate is how expensive.
Have you got some statistics on that?
No, but I know a few off the top of my head. So, one thing I looked at, because I did some work experience in obstetrics and gynecology.
Yes.
So, women and babies and all of that kind of fun stuff.
Gynecology, fun stuff.
And bearing in mind this was out in Dubai,
Yeah.
so this was a very different like cultural attitude towards obstetrics and gynecology. Saw some fantastic things, saw some absolutely harrowing things. But one thing, I was with an English doctor and she was like, people don't
I thought
understand.
you just said heroin things. I was like, wait, what?
No, harrowing. As in like upsetting.
Right.
She was an English doctor and she was like, the UK population, you don't know. You see these people that have 6, 7 or 8 kids. As like, kids are expensive.
As shit.
To run a kid
From the age of birth to 18.
but to have the baby.
Okay.
Not even prenatal or postnatal care, the act of actually having the baby.
Labour.
Guess how much that is?
I'm going to go with $3,000.
Nope.
More?
Yes.
$9,000?
More.
$30,000?
Slightly less.
25.
20 grand.
Shit.
20 grand just to have the labour. That's before
Wow.
you put in the ultrasounds at the beginning.
Wow.
Like, and then all of like the aftercare and all of that is 20 grand to have a baby. Imagine if you had to, if people had to actually pay
20 grand.
20 grand to have the baby.
Like, oh, you popped your child out of your...
Yeah.
Nah.
Here's the bill.
Here's the... Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So people think that kids
Shit.
are expensive after you have them, but actually they're expensive. Like me as a medical student, right? So I pay nine and a quarter.
0.25.
Yeah, 9.25 grand a year.
Yeah.
To my universities. And everyone's like, oh my god, that's a lot of money to go to university.
But...
But I cost the NHS 52,000 every year.
What do you mean you cost them?
So to
52,000?
put me through medical school.
Is that after you've graduated
No,
or during?
to put me through medical school,
Right.
it costs the NHS
Per student.
52,000 a year per student.
Yikes.
That's why international medical students have to pay about 49,000.
Someone said, thank God for the NHS. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about it. You have a kid, all of a sudden you get slapped round the face with a 20 grand bill.
The NHS
Shit.
it's abused by the population because the English are like,
Thing is,
we
I
have
think
no idea.
with the English mentality, and like, I don't mean any offence to any Brits, but the English mentality is give an inch and they'll take a mile. And you've seen that so much over the lockdown
So
period.
much. But also they're not aware. They've never been told. They've never been educated. It's always been free for them.
I think if the NHS made these figures public, people would really think this through. Because like the average hospital bed is 700 per night.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
But, so
It's dumb.
one healthcare system
Yeah.
that I love more than the NHS.
French.
I love the French healthcare system. We can say what we want about France as a country.
Can say they're
We
frogs.
can say whatever we want. They spend as much money per GDP
Yeah.
as Germany. Germany and France spend the most amount of money at government on their healthcare. They spend considerably more than the UK. Considerably more.
Someone said you're forgetting the money that the NHS saves on your wages on the first decade of your career. And then in other countries, junior doctors make a lot more early on.
They do, but
That is true.
The sad reality is that doctors making a lot of money has become a real big reason for people getting into medicine.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. So
It's what you were saying, like you want to work for the NHS because they're funding you
They're
52 grand a year.
they're fulfilling my like childhood dream. Right, I've wanted to be a doctor since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're basically funding you 52k a
They're
year for that.
helping me fulfill my dream and fulfilling what I feel is my purpose to do on this planet. I do not care. I don't need a
You
big
don't
lump.
want the-
I
yeah,
don't
you
need
don't
the
want
big
the
lump
wage.
summary. And quite a lot of the big lump summary that is given to junior doctors is becoming a reason, and then we have a whole generations of doctors
That's just
that
focus on the
actually
money.
aren't passionate about the people and the medicine and all of this. But going back to France, how France work is they have
Yes.
public and private 100% integrated.
Wait, what?
So where England has like private and public as two different sectors, it's perfectly integrated. So to book a GP appointment, for example, right, you can book a GP appointment and you pay a flat rate up front of €25.
Okay, right.
When you then go to the GP, depending on what it's for, so if you're going in, it's like,
so if it's serious.
So if I need my prescription renewed and I'm in there for 10 seconds, I get the 25 back.
Right, okay.
If I go in there and I've got a cough and a cold and I need some antibiotics, I might get some of it back, but I won't get all of it back.
Yeah.
So then there's that slight amount of, well, it's not a lot. Because how many times?
It's not bank breaking.
How many times do we go to the GP in a year?
Like, maybe twice.
Yeah. At most,
Depends if you've got a jab to do.
an elderly patient might go once a month.
Yeah.
Then if they're going for serious, they're getting quite a lot of that back.
Yeah.
But it's just that little bit more accountability of having to go back. And so you have to have a card. You have to have
in
a
France.
card. Yeah.
Right.
So to access free healthcare, because you can get operations, you can get medicine and all of that for free, you have to have a card. And
It's like a government scheme.
Yeah.
Right.
So the card that you have, you show when you first get there. It's like an insurance card.
Right.
And you're taken to like one side. If you have the card, they'll be treated no issues. But you can only get that card if you have lived and worked in France for a certain amount of years.
Right, okay.
So you couldn't rock up,
Be like, hey.
walk into A&E and be like, I'm having my baby.
My water's just broken.
Which
Guess
is what-
who's taking care of
Which
it?
is what you can do in the UK.
Yeah.
People fly to the UK to have
To
their
have childbirth,
kids
yeah.
because they don't have to pay for it. There's no way of actually going, well, actually, do you
You
live
haven't
and work?
been
do
here
you,
for that
do you, there's no way of double
They
checking.
don't check your
do
records.
Do you check that you're paying the taxes? Do you check that you're doing all of this kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Whereas in France, you have to show this card to get the free healthcare.
And guess what? If you ain't lived there, you don't pay shit.
Exactly.
You ain't getting
and
shit.
And it's not like, oh, well, I've been here 1 month and I live here and I now work here. You've got to be paying it for a sustainable amount of time.
Right, okay.
And to me, I could go on for ages about it. But so specialist medicine, you have to pay a little bit, but it's not extortionate amounts.
That's all right
But it's
then.
that just little bit more of contribution. If you want antibiotics, they're free. But like Kent, who has MS and lives out in France,
Yeah.
he has to subsidise a little bit of nothing what it would cost in America to buy it or Dubai. But he has to subsidise just a little bit, just to keep a little bit of money going back into the system, because he's taking quite a bit out as an MS patient.
Who's pregnant? No one's actually pregnant, just
No.
quickly.
Yeah, no,
Do you
definitely.
know France, Germany's waiting list times for procedures compared to the UK? Or that is a very good question.
So I don't know off the top of my head.
Coco's Pug Life. I love that just because it's got pug in the name.
I don't know that off the top of the head, but I do know that France's waiting times on an average are better for GP appointments and surgery compared to the UK. And the other thing about France is like a special mix.
Yeah.
So Kent has MS.
Yeah.
And he has relapsing MS. There's two different types.
Right.
So you have deteriorating,
Which is just gets worse and worse and worse.
But you have relapsing, so you'll be fine. You'll relapse, you're fine. You relapse, fine.
Okay, right. So it's just up and down.
And they've found this medicine, I forget what it's called, but it begins with an R. And basically, England refused to give it to Kent. They said, it doesn't match, we can't afford to give it to you, we can't afford to pay it out because the quality of life adjustment and all of this and how they go through it and the nice and the qualities. It was like, we can't afford to give it to all of our MS patients, therefore we can't do it. Whereas in France went, well, yeah, can I have £1 a month
for it?
And Kent's not had any issues with his MS.
£1 a month.
He hasn't even got a tremor in his hand anymore.
But is that does he have to get it? Does he have to get it every month, or is
He
it
has
like?
basically has injections. So
Okay,
rather than
right.
taking like a pill every day, he has an injection every month.
Okay,
And
right,
he
got
pays
you.
pound. But a tremor that he'd had for years completely stopped the second that he went on to this medication. And I've been,
That's what you'd get.
when I go out to France, I can call up and say I need an appointment and they'll give it to me then and there.
Is that? Do you have the card?
Yeah, because we have the house and we pay our taxes.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. I forgot about that.
And technically, we work there.
Do you?
That's where everything goes to the house.
Oh, right, okay, of course. Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't mind me, I'm going to quickly go get another battery for this camera because, yeah. But, yeah, no, I mean, I know that, so the way that Greece works is, again, it's very similar to the NHS in the way that You go in, there's free healthcare, which is, I'm not going to lie to you, Greek free healthcare is the biggest load of shit on the planet. It's actually terrible. Is she a nurse or a politician?
Honestly, I could sort the world out in 30 seconds sometimes.
Probably. I'm not going to lie to you, you could probably have done a much better job with lockdown than Bojo did or anyone else. So, no, she is a aspiring doctor. So she's gotten into medicine in Exeter and is doing that. Are you originally from Greece? Yes, I am indeed. So yeah, no, like Greece, the way they've got it is they've got public, then they've got private. So the private is expensive, right? However, here we go. YouTube, you're back. So the public sector is like it is here. You pay your taxes, you get this. However, it is so terrible. The quality, the doctors, like I remember going in for, because when I was a baby, I had my lip cut open there for a scar. Went in there and the guy was just sat there, like in the darkest room going, and he was smoking. I'm pretty sure I remember him smoking, and I was like, dude, I've literally got a cut on my lip. Can you not put your cigarette down for 5 seconds? However, we then went, like, I can't remember, I think my brother broke his arm. We went to a hospital half an hour away, private, and they were incredible. I mean, you go in, obviously, either you have health insurance or you pay private prices, which are ridiculous, so we just have health insurance. So my mum just showed her health insurance, got fast tracked through, and that's where she had my brother, that's where she gave birth to him, and it was just like, it was ridiculously good. And there's also this other hospital in Athens, it's called the Mediterranean now, and it was like my nan went there because she fractured her hip in 2 different places. Worst thing to fracture, especially at the age of like 80. Or 70, I can't remember exactly.
Did you know if you have a hip operation, you're over 60 or 50% chance of dying on the table?
Yep, because of the anaesthetic that they gave her. They actually had to give her that anaesthetic, and that's actually how she died.
What?
That's actually how she died.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's been like 3 years, so it's all good. No, it's fine. But yeah, no, that's basically like they gave her the anaesthetic. They were like, this is either gonna work or it's not, and it didn't work.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was actually after the operation, so it was weird. It was really weird. But anyway, like they went to the. Take a second, don't worry. But yeah, so afterwards they took her. Like they took her in, everything was done so professionally. The doctor that was there is still there. My mum went there to see because of her shoulder. So we thought she had frozen shoulder or impingement. She didn't. She's got something arthritis. I can't remember what it was.
Osteoporosis?
No, it was osteoarthritis.
Okay.
That's the medical term, I believe.
Was it like ossification?
That's the one. Yes. Damn, she's smart. But yeah, so she, like, the doctor literally looked at her, got her to do 3 movements, and was like, yeah, it's this. And they did the X-ray, and it was that, and it was just like, over here, she went to a physio, and they were like, oh, it may be this or it may be that, and I'm like, fucking, isn't this your job? Are you not, like, shit. But yeah, no, I think private healthcare in Greece is so much better than like public, fully 100%. Also, did you know that the waiting list in Switzerland are virtually nothing?
Yeah, because it's the same in Dubai.
Virtually nothing.
It's the same in Dubai.
That's
Virtually
like-
nothing.
I
How
can't
many
imagine
people
that.
do you think have health insurance in the UK? With the population of 66 million.
Percentage or actual people?
I know, I've got. I guess it's been rounded to the nearest million.
22.
4.
Wow, I really overshot that one.
According to this article in 2017, 4 million people have health insurance in the UK. So you think of all, when you say about like private, you have absolutely nothing, you have no waiting time whatsoever. It's because barely anyone uses it compared to the NHS. So I saw this.
Ask her about strawberries on pizza. Jesus Christ, God, no.
Ooh, like a dessert pizza?
No, like actual pizza.
I quite...
You like pineapples, I think you're one of those weird people.
Have a pizza, right? Cook a margarita, and then on top put strawberries and rocket. I bet that would be really nice. You don't eat vegetables.
No, I don't. They see you privately initially, then pass it on to the NHS system.
That's like trust systems, that's like... The NHS is very complicated.
Right, okay, got
You
you.
have like NHS trusts, which is how they kind of do that. So you get treated in an NHS hospital, but you're paying privately because it's a trust hospital.
So you pay for your own operation, but that money does go... Right, okay, got you. Got you, that makes sense. But yeah, no, like it's... Oh no, okay, Jaden says with chocolate. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Go.
This is one thing that really grates me. Really
Great, so you kind of like parmesan and cheddar.
How many appointments do you believe there are available in England? This is just England. This is NHS England. How many appointments, GP appointments, do you think are available in England?
I'm going to guess one for every half hour of the day that they're open. I don't know the number of that, that's way too many.
307 million sessions scheduled with GP.
Every single day.
Every year.
Oh, okay. 315 million. Is that what you said?
Yeah, every year.
3.5 million. Shit.
Right? In England alone, that's excluding Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. That's just...
Wow, okay, jeez. I thought you meant UK then.
That sounds fantastic, doesn't it? There's that many...
315. 15.
7.
307, okay.
307 million in 2015. No, January 2019 the paper was published. The 307 million sessions.
Okay.
That's a fantastic number. We have that
That's
many
a
GP
big
appointments.
number.
But then let's break this down. A GP starts work at 8.
Yeah.
Finish work at 5. They
Yeah.
have half an hour in the middle of the day.
Break.
Right? The government schedule GP appointments every 5 minutes.
5?
5.
So I'm meant to be in and out of there in 5 minutes?
Exactly.
What the fuck is he going to do? Say hello and then tell me to piss off?
That is how we can have statistics then. We have so many appointments, right? That have GP waiting because they're 5 minutes in an appointment. Who can tell a doctor? I couldn't even, at 21, a reasonably fit and healthy 21-year-old could not go to a doctor and explain to me in 5 minutes. Bearing in mind, what if I was some 87-year-old woman with comorbidities, I had diabetes, CBD, and to top it all off, I'd just broken my leg, that I had a diabetic foot ulcer.
And talks about her cat.
How could I explain that? I'd have to go to the doctor and be like...
You'd have to go in there with a pre-written bullet point list.
Like the doctors don't, because the GP's appointment is actually to care for the person. We're not robots that sit behind computers and go beep, 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 beep. This really ticks me off. I can talk for ages on this.
Jason said he forgot your name.
Oh, it's fine, it's just Meg.
That is stupid. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. So next time you sit in a GP appointment and you're complaining that they're 20 minutes late, just remember that the government made them schedule appointments every 5 minutes.
The thing is, though,
and then time how long you're in the doctor's appointment.
my question is, though, do they actually go by that time?
So Jo had me working with her,
Yeah.
and she was only allowed to book every hour 5 minutes off because she was dealing with a student and helping them catch up.
So what you're saying is that basically they've put in... they have to fill up the slots. So let's say I can't turn around to it. If I was a GP, I can't turn around and say, okay, I've put 5 minutes there, I'll leave 5 minutes, put 5 minutes, leave 5 minutes. That is the biggest load of horseshit on the planet.
Because then that would cut 307 down to 154.5 million. If I did
But
that.
that's just like, otherwise it looks right on paper, but it's crap practically.
Again, this is politicians running a healthcare system that have no real clue at actually what is necessary.
Someone says, plus they discuss one symptom per appointment.
Yeah.
which is counterproductive.
Which is insane because, again, who said that?
Coco's Pug Life.
Because you have comorbidities. We're living in a day and age where no one has just one thing wrong with them.
Yeah, of course.
Right? I sort of sat in there with a guy. He came in because his wife was having shortness of breath. So he was really nervous before Corona.
Yeah.
He was really struggling going up the stairs in their home.
Right.
And he noticed that he used to be able to go up and fine, and then he got up top and he was worried that he had pneumonia because he had a little bit of a tickle, didn't really have anything.
Okay, right.
So we listened to his heart, we looked at his blood pressure, we realised that his blood pressure was
Anemic?
really high. No, he did have really high blood pressure.
Oh.
So we realised he had really high blood pressure. We listened to heart and we realised that actually he didn't have pneumonia because you can hear the crackle of pneumonia in lungs.
Yeah.
We noticed that one of his valves in his heart. So then we wanted to do like a different scan. So we didn't want to send him out and go, come back in 5 minutes, is up. So he ended up being there. We went all around the houses looking for something. And we ended up being in there for 30 minutes. For the full 30 minutes we were taking bloods, doing this.
So you're actually doing things that were actually productive.
Right? And then we had another lady in who she was really old and she was kind of losing it on the dementia front. So she has an appointment every 6 weeks just to try and check because her family don't live close enough to be able to actually help a lot. I think they live in like Singapore or something. So she has an appointment every 6 weeks just to check her cognitive functions. And she came in and she was like, oh no, it's fine, I know you're very busy, I love you loads, like...
I started having
how's my brain? And she was really lovely and she was in and out in about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
She just wanted to come in, she wanted to do a thing, and she knew what she was doing and left. We then had this young girl come in with a baby. And she was like, she had needed antibiotics.
Right.
So in all the grand scheme of things that we've seen the entire day, right, she just needed some antibiotics because she was she had a bit of a cough, bit of a cold, bit of a temperature. She came with the child, and the child was absolutely asleep in the pram.
Right.
Like this kid was absolutely. She sat there and she just effed and blind and went, you're late, I've had to wait 30 minutes, this is unacceptable. You know, I've got my child with me, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got that. And was just so inconsiderate for the fact.
So she's basically just spent her 5 minutes just effing and cussing at you.
5 minutes before she even got anything, just effing and cussing, saying how it was unacceptable for her to wait that long. And then, you know, you can't really turn around and be like, well, this is the issue. It's like, oh, we're terribly sorry, we're trying to get it better, but sometimes a case walks in that we don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And she was effing and blindly, and then she sat down, she was perfectly happy to sit in the room for 20 minutes.
I genuinely think that should be like people. If someone starts like getting really annoyed at the doctor or the GP or whatever, they should genuinely turn around. The doctor should be able to turn around and not refuse them, but they should be able to turn around and be a complete dick back. They should be allowed to just turn around and say, well, we're only now 5 minutes per appointment, so if you stop being so inconsiderate, sit down, take your 5 minutes, and the next person will be able to be in.
You can't even tell.
Something
Or
that
just
they've
the
had.
subject that they're overweight.
I know, which is stupid.
They can't even do that.
It's stupid. Like, don't even get me into that because weight with me is a massive thing because of obviously PT and the fact that I can't. If someone wants to weigh themselves in my session, I have to take them out the back. I have to check whether they're okay to weigh in the gym or if they want to go out the back and weigh there where no one can see them. I'm like, no one's going to look at the number on the scale. No one's going to be behind you like, hey, by the way, you're 75.
Like I don't particularly like standing on scales and seeing a number that's slightly higher than what I think it should be. But at the same time, if your doctor, that you've seen for, like, Jo was in this GP practice for over 30 years, right? So she had a core group of patients that she'd seen for that entire time.
Yeah.
And if she can't even broach going, look, I've noticed in the last 6 months, there's one guy over 70 kilos in 6 months.
Yikes.
He'd properly been putting on weight to the point that Jo was like, well, I wanted to see if his thyroid's okay, but if he's not coming in and asking me, she was like, I'm worried that his thyroid's underactive or this and that could be an excuse for why the weight is piling on so quickly. But she couldn't even broach it until he came in and said, I think this is an issue. And she's like, I can't because 1 minute I turn around, I could then end up losing my job.
I think if it comes to so look, don't get me wrong, you can't. I don't think you should be able to professionally. If I was a doctor and you came into my practice or whatever or a GP, and it does not. I can't just turn around to be like, oh, you've put on a little bit of weight, haven't you? That's completely unprofessional. However, if it's getting to a point where it's genuinely overweight and endangering your health, I should be able to say, we need to sort this out because you're overweight.
What do people on TikTok Live think?
Guys, what do you think? Would you, if you, okay, let me put it this way. If you were overweight, would you want your doctor to turn around to you and flat out say you need to lose weight because you're overweight? Or if you're obese, do you want them to turn around and say, you know, you either lose weight or you become morbidly obese and risk X, Y, Z, diabetes, coronary heart disease, hypertension, whatever.
It would have been caused a lot softer than what Alex is just presenting.
Yeah, I'm just an arsehole.
But would you want your doctor to just mention it in passing, or would you prefer not to have it? Because it's a sensitive thing. If you put on 10
I know, but if it's obesity, if we're talking about overweight and obesity,
70 kilos in 6 months, and Joe was worried that it was his thyroid was playing up and
underreacting.
Producing too much of one hormone and too little of the other, so you have T3 and T4.
Yeah, underacting.
And they were like, she was like, but that could be also a symptom of loads of other issues and could also lead on to, because he's like, he's not diabetic, he could be like pre-diabetic, he could have all of this and stuff, CBD and all of them. She's like, but I can't actually ask him because he won't bring it up.
Anyone on the Facebook clip or Instagram clip, also submit your answers down below. Would you want your doctor to just turn around to you and straight up tell you, or would you want them to kind of, I want to say sugarcoat it, but not, because they're not allowed to sugarcoat it, are they?
Luckily Joe had this time ago.
It's a relationship.
He came in because he came in and he was like, I'm feeling out of breath, I'm not as active as I can be, I'm like struggling. And Joe was able to say, well, I've got a couple of your statistics here in front of me. Do you mind if we update them and we redo your blood pressure and your heart rate and just check your weight and height?
Right.
She had to go, and if she'd come in with a cut of my leg, I couldn't have done that. And she was able to segue it around.
So she had to really say, update the statistics.
The statements on the computer screen, and she had to take the heart rate, the blood pressure, the height, and the weight. And he then turned around and was like, oh, out of curiosity, when was the last time you took my weight? And she was like, oh, it was 6 months ago. And he went, I bet I put on quite a bit since then.
What did she say?
She turned around and she went, not going to lie, yes, 70 kilos.
Right.
And he was like, that's a lot more than I thought. And he was quite shocked about that.
I think when it comes to stuff like that, people should be. Because there's no easy way.
I don't mean to sound mean to him, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone quite this big.
Yeah.
Like 70 kilos, that's putting on an entire meal and a bit.
Yeah. That's
Like,
putting on just under me.
He was really tall, he was about 6'5", he was very tall as well.
Okay, right.
So he wasn't a little guy, he was very, very tall, but he didn't like it, but then he was like, right, I need to make appointments, I need to come back, and I need to talk to you about this, and I need to get a plan, and I need to do this.
Yeah.
And like, that one small thing is he's actioned it from it, but it was just like, I've seen him, she's like, in the last 6 months, I've seen him 3 times, and I couldn't bring it up.
Yeah. I genuinely think that is ridiculous. If it comes to something that is, if it comes to something that is genuinely like about to impact your health and could lead to some serious consequences, they should just be able to turn around to you and say, I'm sorry, you're gaining a lot of weight and this is starting to get very dangerous.
The beauty of having the GP is that you actually follow your patients. So it turned out he didn't have a thyroid condition.
So someone says, I agree, because if they tell you you have the opportunity to either lose weight or risk your life. Yeah, exactly. Someone says, I'm happy the way I am. If they want to tell me otherwise, they can F off. Well, okay, if the way you are is about to kill you, would you want me to tell you you're about to die, or would you rather just die? Obesity costs the NHS billions per year, yeah.
It does.
I'm pretty sure smoking costs 50 million a year, if I
I'm
remember
not sure,
correctly.
but smoking, coronary heart
Obesity.
disease, which is obesity, like a factor of obesity, and type 2 diabetes are bigger costs than cancer.
Yeah, and that's insane.
1 in 2 people in modern day first world countries will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime.
1 in 2.
1 in 2.
I think that what was it? I saw the statistic that 1 in 4 people will be either over. I think it was either overweight or obese by 2025. 1 in every 4 people
But also,
in
I
the
want to say
fucking
that
country.
we also do still take BMI into consideration, which is insane. BMI is the most
It's
stupid in the
stupid.
entire
Don't,
world.
yeah.
And I'm not saying like the number on the scale is everything, because it really isn't. Because muscle weight is a lot more than fat, so you can be really
And it doesn't get
big.
taken into
It doesn't get
consideration.
taken into consideration. So that's why there's a lot of research currently going into actually finding a better way of trying to measure. But you can physically see if someone is underweight, they typically lose it in their face. Or
Yeah,
especially guys,
yeah,
they
bony,
don't have
very
cheeks.
bony.
And again, you always kind of like put it on around your face.
That's, yeah.
Guys typically get their belly, girls get their hips, which is just where we store fat.
I think it should just be like, it should just be body fat percentage. Even if it's just like a pair of scales like I've got in my bathroom, they cost £50.
Yeah.
Get like a set of them for every single like GP room. Get people to stand on them. Put in their details, like, you know, height, age, whatever, sex, how athletic they are, and they will give you your body fat percentage. And your body fat percentage is so much better, because if someone is over 50%, if you're a male and you're over 50% body fat, you need to rethink a lot of stuff, because atherosclerosis is about to hit you in the ass.
And just don't get there's a massive lack of education.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
For healthcare, there's a lot of, don't smoke, but then how many young people do you see smoking? Like, it's not actually, it's like corona with young people. That's not going to happen to me.
Well, that's what so my dad, we've been trying to get him to quit smoking for years and years and years. And his mentality is that, I turned around to him, I was like, 50% of people who smoke will get lung cancer. Like 50%. That is you're literally risking. I'm pretty sure it's either 50% or something like it. It's a really high number. And he turned around to me and he was like, well, it's not going to be me. I was like, but you don't know that.
My granddad died of lung cancer. He was a very heavy smoker.
Yeah, my nan did too. And I'm like, you can't just decide, oh, it's not going to be me.
Paul used to joke about it. He used to joke about, this might kill me one day. And I was like, well, actually,
it will.
It didn't. It was awful.
It's one of the worst things to see ever, period.
It was 3 weeks from diagnosis to death.
I think mine was fairly similar.
He deteriorated so
yeah, it's horrible.
heartbreaking to watch.
It's horrible.
But then, I kind of get it with the older generations because they didn't have the education that's out there now. But there was
But even with the education out there now,
anyone under 30 still smoking.
is that Megan? Hi Megan, yes it
If
is.
you smoke, you do not get treatment on the NHS.
No,
You've decided to smoke.
that's what me and Bryn were going on about a few weeks ago. Is that if you have, so let's say if you go into the doctors and they say, right, you've got a serious like alcohol problem or this or that or the other, if they choose to completely ignore the intervention, they should not be able to then get like a transplant, let alone anything other than that.
So when I was having applying for medicine the first time around, I was applying up in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
And Yorkshire was one of the first departments to implement this thing. Is that if you were obese and overweight, before you could have any surgery like gastric band, gastric bypass, weight loss surgery, anything along that, you had to show a lifestyle change. You had to drop body fat percentage, that's how they went.
Good.
You had to drop their body fat percentage by, I can't remember how much, and they had to sustain over 6 months before they could have a gastric band, because the amount of people that go,
don't need it.
oh, I'll have it, no, they're just like, well, it's fine, I'll have a gastric band and then I'll be fine, and then they don't change their weight, they don't change their lifestyle, they see it as a quick fix and then they go back. And sadly, it's no longer implemented across the UK because so many people kicked a massive fuss and said, well, that's not fair.
And someone said, what if someone has obesity, shouldn't they be recommended a gym membership or something like that? I think that I personally don't think that they should be prescribed with a membership. I personally think they should be prescribed with someone who will go to their house. Because if I'm obese or overweight, I don't want to go in the gym.
Yeah.
I feel intimidated. I walk into the gym, there's like a guy like benching 150 for fun. There's another like guy who does triathlons on his weekend because he thinks it's fun. There's another guy who does ultra marathons because he thinks, oh, they'll keep me in shape. It's like, you're obese, you're overweight, you go in there and all of a sudden you see all these people, you're like, I don't want to come in here.
No, like with your PT qualifications, offering discounted home classes
For
people who are overweight. Like, I think that would be a really good initiative to get PTs to go into a home. And because most people have a little back garden, if not, you could actually do a good session there.
You move around stuff in the living room. There's plenty of like I could do burpees in my living room for God's sake.
Also, people who are on the larger side, the best exercise they can do is weight bearing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not lifting. Walking is better for burning fat than running.
Yeah.
You have to walk for about an hour.
I was going to say it depends for how long.
Well, yeah, because you start burning fat after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So the puppies go for a nice walk with the dogs.
Well, let's be fair, Luke's. I'm pretty sure
Luke's a
he's
special case. He needs his own personal trainer.
he needs his own treadmill.
Going out and actually then doing that, but having some come to house, I think would be much better than a gym.
That's what I'm saying. Like
even me, I feel intimidated walking into the weight section of a gym.
and like Megan is not by no means either fat or skinny. You are athletic.
But I get intimidated because I walk into the
And every guy
free
will
weights,
just-
and there'll be no girls, so I'll go up to do like squats and deadlifts and bench presses, and I'll be the only girl doing them.
And the males will be like,
It's intimidating, even though I know what I'm doing. I go there every single day. I still walk into the gym and I'm like,
shit. There's no other females, great.
It would just be nice if I had one female friend that wanted to do this with me.
Yo, dude, hello. That's the way to help. Megan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. I get to rant and rave about one thing that I really like.
There you go, there she is. You guys can see her for a little bit instead of seeing my face. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I genuinely think that places, like for example the NHS, if someone does have obesity, they should be getting prescribed
What Dean said.
a personal trainer.
1 hour 3 times a week. Swimming a week. Swimming's really good.
Swimming's incredible, and it's good for joints.
It's
Really good for joints.
Again, if you're really
There's no impact.
non-weight bearing, no impact. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Someone says, how are you, Alex?
I'm chilling. Also, can I quickly just put one last point before I stop with Switzerland, because I feel like I've neglected them a lot. This is my favourite thing on the planet, and this is what we were talking about. You don't have to pay for procedures.
I can't read them. I'm going blind.
I'm saying, Megan, you're more,
No,
you're
what's the name? I can't work out the names of the letters.
Mina.
Is it Mina? Thank you, Mina.
Yeah, so the thing is, right, with Switzerland is that you don't have to pay for a procedure if it isn't necessary. Did I say Sweden? Switzerland.
Basically, you can't get a boob job on the Swedish
You can't.
insurance.
If someone, so me and you were talking about this the other day. There was someone who said that they needed to get a nose job because it was affecting their mental health, and they got it on the NHS. Now, may I just point out, if that person should be listening, I'm sorry, but you just wasted
funding.
You wasted so much money because your nose was annoying you.
There's two sides to this, because that's unacceptable. To get rhinoplasty on the NHS, unless like you have like you can't breathe.
If you look like a pug and you breathe like a pug,
if you
then
can't
it's an
breathe,
issue.
that's fair enough. But having it, you don't really like I've broken my nose twice.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie, though, your nose looks fine. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, it's not like this. But I've broken my nose twice. It's got a big thing here. But I have no trouble breathing with my broken nose twice. And that's because I broke it once to the left and then once to the right.
Well, at least you broke it back in the other
Yeah,
direction.
I did, because it was at one point there was like a little bit of a lump to the side here. And then I broke it the other way.
And then it was
And
fine.
then it's actually... You can still feel it up here.
I'm not. Am I gonna?
You can still feel it
Oh, yeah.
up there.
Yeah, I can.
But like,
I was not gonna lie, I never touched your nose, so well, that part of your nose anyway. Did it just annoy you? Yeah, like, I mean, come on, like.
it's like people who have boob jobs because they're small boobs give them security. It's like, okay, well,
Good.
that's your choice.
So man the fuck up, or
No,
woman the fuck
if
up.
that's your choice, if you're really self-conscious about the size of your boobs, right?
Pay for it.
Then and you decide to do that, and that should not be something that's taken away
It's like, I'm sorry.
The NHS. And also people that come over and just use the NHS. People who...
Are we talking like people just like...
People who arrive, they land, have a baby and then bugger off and don't contribute.
Yeah, no, I completely... I genuinely think that every single time... I think they should, like, the NHS should have a way of... That's fine. I think the NHS should have a way of seeing how long someone's been living here, if they live here. Or like France do, just get a bloody card. It's a piece of plastic.
The UK population are happy to carry a driving licence, they're not happy to carry an ID card.
Land the day before admission, fact. Yeah, it's horrible. I heard NHS talk. I'm a nurse. Well, Stephanie, hello. We have just finished an hour-long podcast. Well, not finished really yet, but I genuinely think that like when I heard about that thing with the nose job, it pissed me off so much because like I don't know how much the average nose job costs.
But when you think about the day basis, you're in there for about 3 days.
Labour.
All the labour, the doctor's bills, the surgery, the anaesthetic's really expensive.
Yeah, I know.
And also the risk. The risk of going under general anaesthetic.
It's quite high.
To my mind.
Let alone for a clot.
To my mind, cosmetic surgery on that front that actually would require general anaesthetic doesn't outweigh, the benefits don't outweigh the risks I'd put.
Yeah.
Like getting proper Botox done or getting like lip filler when it's all of that.
YouTube, we've lost you again, I'm sorry.
But like it's in my head would be like, okay, but like getting a boob job because I would decide that I want Fs.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Botox is pretty much an anaesthetic anyway.
Yeah, no, but like to have a boob job, I'd have to be put under general anaesthetic.
Yeah, of course.
To have like my jaw reconstructed or my nose done or get like the fox eye trend like Kendall Jenner would mean me putting under general anaesthetic. And to me...
That's just not worth it.
But then that's me. I know there's people out there that actually... how they look.
Bro, put us on Megan. Was this a free nose job? Yes, it was, Steph.
Who was this a free nose job?
The lady that we're talking about, because she claimed that it was damaging her mental health. Because I'm sorry, but again, if you've got an insecurity, then I'm sorry, but before you get any form of work done on it, you need to look at yourself and talk to yourself and sit down and genuinely think about everything. Because I'm sorry, if you've got
I mean, cosmetic surgery which is done in the NHS needs to be due to something which is caused by trauma. Yes, exactly.
There's a big difference between cosmetic surgery and reconstruction surgery. So yeah, I agree.
If you have like face and acid or you have any traumas like that, and
that's fair enough.
That's classed as reconstructive surgery. So that's cosmetic surgery that's done for that reason rather than the other way around.
Cosmetic surgery is when you've genuinely...
We're talking cosmetic like, I don't like my nose.
I want to change this, I want to change that.
I want my ribs removed. Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
I fancy a Brazilian butt lift next week.
Benji Clark. Just, you know, you've got that.
Guys, I'm not being funny, but you two look the same.
Great. Good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope
it's not illegal if it's second cousins, right?
God. Jesus Christ.
People wanting...
On that bombshell.
People wanting to after their image needs to be... Yeah, exactly.
What was that? People wanting to alter their image?
Alter their image needs to be done.
Yeah, fully. So that's what we were saying.
You pay to have your hair coloured pink.
Yeah. I can't just turn around to the NHS, by the way, my hair colour is making me insecure, can I please have it re-dyed for free? Like, no, piss off.
Same as people who can't be bothered to do the gym but expect a tummy tuck on the NHS.
Yep. Stephanie knows this.
Stephanie,
where have you been this last hour?
You've been about 20 minutes
on.
behind the talk, but yes, you are very, very valid. I was saying about how they were doing it in York, where you had to show it.
Right, on that bombshell.
Pug life, obesity secondary to POCS, Megan, thoughts? PCOS.
I don't know.
What's PCOS?
We'll finish the podcast that we can have.
We'll finish the podcast and then we'll come and talk to
We'll discuss about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. We hope you've enjoyed. If you haven't and you're one of that 4 million that pays privately, fair play to you.
Boris Johnson, if you're listening.
Bojo.
Can you make GP appointments 15 minutes?
Not even that. Make them 20. Round it up.
No, because we still need a fair few of them. Let's have 15-minute GP appointments.
15 minutes.
Because then we're going to have less tired doctors. We're going to have more accurate treatments because we'd actually be able to talk to them and find out what's going on.
And better relationships with the people coming in.
Let's get the person running the NHS a retired doctor. Get a consortium of...
Get him a sit down.
No, what's the word? Consultants. Get a consortium of consultants of like old doctors from across all different types of fields and get them to run the NHS. Because I tell you what,
That'd be so cool.
That would be a good use.
The board of the retired.
Well, they know what they're doing. They've worked their entire life in it, the vast majority of them.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of the retired GPs have done over 30 years.
Babe, we're wrapping it up. Okay. We're wrapping it up. Okay. Sorry. But as I said, thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. Actually, Meg listened to it the other day in her nan's garden, so fair play to her. So we will speak to you next week, where Meg will not be joining us, but the week after she might be joining us again. We will not know. We'll see. We will see you next week. And I'm not going to say keep your stick on the ice because that is way too Britain. But I don't really know how to end this, so I'm just going to end it.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. And do not, I repeat, do not tell the NHS that you've got a mental health issue because of your nose. See you next week.
That was the worst ending ever.
That's the best ending ever. It's philosophical.